Everyone knows that Jesus Christ died in Jerusalem in the 1st century. It is one of the most important events in human history, remembered by billions and proclaimed in every generation. Yet while the event itself is widely accepted, few people realize that it is possible to determine with surprising precision the exact year, month, day, and even the hour of his death. At first glance, this may seem impossible. The Gospels were not written as modern historical documents filled with precise timestamps and chronological charts. They are testimonies of faith, narratives shaped by theology, and proclamations of salvation. And yet, hidden within these sacred texts are specific historical details, small clues that, when carefully examined, begin to form a clear and coherent timeline. When these clues are combined with what we know from ancient historians, Jewish customs, and even astronomical calculations, something remarkable happens. The fog of uncertainty begins to lift. The broad outline becomes sharper, and eventually, a precise moment in history emerges. In fact, there are 7 key clues that guide us step by step toward that moment. Each clue narrows the possibilities. Each one removes uncertainty, and together they lead us to a single, compelling conclusion. This is not simply an intellectual exercise. To discover the exact moment of Christ's death is to stand at the very center of the Christian mystery, to witness the hour when love was fully given, when sacrifice reached its fullness, and when redemption entered the world. Let us now follow these 7 clues. Clue 1. The High Priest Caiaphas. The first clue comes from the identity of the high priest involved in the trial of Jesus, Caiaphas. The Gospels tell us that Jesus was condemned through the initiative and authority of the Jewish leadership, and Caiaphas stands at the center of this process. In the Gospel of Matthew, we read that the chief priests and elders gathered in the palace of Caiaphas to plot against Jesus. In the Gospel of John, Caiaphas is explicitly identified as the one who suggested that it would be better for one man to die for the people. This detail is historically significant. Caiaphas is not a symbolic figure. He is a real historical person whose tenure is well documented. According to ancient sources, including the historian Josephus, Caiaphas served as high priest from approximately AD 18 to AD 36. This immediately provides us with our first boundary. If Jesus was condemned under the authority of Caiaphas, then his death must have taken place within this period. Although this range still spans nearly 2 decades, it gives us a firm starting point. We now know that the crucifixion did not occur at an undefined time, but within a specific historical window. Clue 2. The Roman governor Pontius Pilate. The second clue comes from the Roman authority who ultimately ordered the crucifixion, Pontius Pilate. All 4 Gospels agree on this point. Jesus was sentenced to death by Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. The Jewish leaders brought Jesus before him, accusing him and demanding his execution. Despite hesitation, Pilate eventually gave the order for crucifixion. Like Caiaphas, Pilate is also a well-attested historical figure. Roman records and historical writings confirm that he governed Judea from AD 26 to AD 36. This narrows our time frame even further. The death of Jesus must have occurred during the overlap between the tenure of Caiaphas and Pilate. In this case, the overlap is from AD 26 to AD 36. We are still working within a 10-year window, but the timeline is becoming more precise. 2 independent authorities, one Jewish, one Roman, confirm the same period. Clue 3. After the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar. The third clue comes from a remarkably precise statement in the Gospel of Luke. Luke situates the beginning of the ministry of John the Baptist within a specific historical moment, the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar. According to historical records, Tiberius began his reign in AD 14. Therefore, his 15th year corresponds to AD 29. Luke tells us that it was in this year that the word of God came to John the Baptist in the wilderness, marking the beginning of his public ministry. The Gospels also consistently show that the ministry of Jesus began shortly after that of John. Jesus is baptized by John, and only then does he begin his own mission. This is a crucial turning point. If the ministry of Jesus begins after AD 29, then his death must also occur after this date. At the same time, we already know from clues 1 and 2 that the death must occur before AD 36. This gives us a much narrower window between AD 29 and AD 36. Clue 4. The crucifixion took place on a Friday. The fourth clue concerns the day of the week. All four Gospels agree that Jesus was crucified on a Friday, the day before the Sabbath. This day is referred to as the Day of Preparation, the time when the Jewish people prepared everything they would need before the Sabbath began at sunset. Because work was forbidden on the Sabbath, all necessary tasks had to be completed in advance. The Gospels repeatedly emphasize that Jesus died just before the Sabbath began, confirming that the crucifixion took place on a Friday. This detail may seem simple, but it is extremely important. It allows us to connect the Gospel narrative with calendar calculations. We are no longer looking for just any day between AD 29 and AD 36. We are looking for a specific type of day, a Friday. This significantly reduces the number of possible dates. Clue 5. The connection with Passover. The fifth clue connects the crucifixion with one of the most important Jewish feasts, Passover. The Gospels clearly indicate that Jesus was crucified in connection with Passover. However, there is a subtle difference in how this is described. The Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, present the Last Supper as a Passover meal, suggesting that Jesus was crucified after the Passover had already begun. The Gospel of John, however, offers a slightly different perspective. John indicates that on the morning of the crucifixion, the Jewish authorities had not yet eaten the Passover meal. This suggests that Passover would begin later that same day, at sunset. While this difference has led to various interpretations, it does not prevent us from identifying the general time frame. All accounts agree that the crucifixion took place at the time of Passover, specifically around the day of preparation. This allows us to combine two conditions. The crucifixion took place on a Friday. It occurred at the time of Passover. When we examine the Jewish calendar between AD 29 and AD 36, we find that only a few dates satisfy both conditions. In fact, there are only two possible candidates: Friday, April 7, AD 30, Friday, April 3, AD 33. At this point, the possibilities have been reduced to just two specific dates. Clue 6. The three Passovers in the Gospel of John. The sixth clue comes from the structure of the Gospel of John. Unlike the Synoptic Gospels, John explicitly mentions multiple Passovers during the ministry of Jesus. In fact, he refers to at least three separate Passovers: one near the beginning of Jesus' ministry, one in the middle, one at the end, just before the crucifixion. This detail is extremely important because it tells us something about the duration of Jesus' ministry. If there are at least three Passovers, then his ministry must have lasted at least 2 to 3 years. This helps us distinguish between the two remaining candidate dates. If Jesus died in AD 30, then his ministry would have been quite short, likely less than 2 years. This does not fit well with the Gospel of John, which clearly describes multiple Passovers across a longer period. On the other hand, if Jesus died in AD 33, the timeline fits naturally. His ministry would span approximately 3 years, allowing for the 3 Passovers mentioned by John. This makes AD 33 the more consistent and compelling choice. Clue 7. The 9th hour. The final clue concerns not the day or the year, but the exact hour of Jesus' death. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke all record that Jesus died at the 9th hour. In the Jewish system of timekeeping, the day began at sunrise, around 6 a.m. The 9th hour would therefore correspond to approximately 3 p.m. This is a deeply significant detail. Not only does it give us a precise time, but it also carries theological meaning. Around this hour, sacrifices were offered in the temple. The death of Jesus at this moment reveals him as the true sacrificial lamb. Thus, we are not only given a date, but an hour, an exact moment within the day. Final conclusion. When all 7 clues are brought together, the conclusion becomes clear. Jesus was crucified under the authority of Caiaphas and Pontius Pilate. His ministry began after AD 29, during the reign of Tiberius Caesar. He died on a Friday, at the time of Passover. His ministry spanned multiple years, as indicated by the Gospel of John, and he died at the 9th hour, around 3 p.m. Only one date satisfies all of these conditions. Friday, April 3, AD 33, at approximately 3 p.m. This is not merely a probable date, it is the most historically and biblically consistent conclusion that can be drawn from the available evidence. Yet beyond the calculations, beyond the timelines and the historical reconstruction, there remains something far greater. This moment, 3 p.m. on a Friday in early April of AD 33, is not just a point in history, it is the heart of the Christian faith. It is the moment when love was poured out without measure, the moment when suffering became redemption, the moment when death itself was transformed. And though we can now name the day and the hour, its meaning continues to echo far beyond time. Because this is not just history, this is the story of salvation.